I want to be famous for the person that stopped Nigeria from rigging. And I want that diversity. I keep saying this thing, the diversity and opinion. You know, I want some young people to grow up and think that I don't care about being president, but I want to be the person that will tell the president to stop that nonsense.
All right. Let's quickly put you on hold. Yes. We have Ayodele Ozugbakun, senior political correspondent, standing by now to bring us up to speed with development from Akure South. Ayo, right behind you, I can see a number of persons have come out to check the registration and see perhaps their names. But has the mood changed from the look of things? You know, leading up to the election, you were saying the mood in Ondo State does not seem like the people are ready to turn out to vote. But right behind you, it seems it's a different story.
I'm struggling to hear you, but I heard what you said about the mood. Maybe the mood has changed. But this is Sacred Heart Cathedral in Akure South local government. And in Akure South local government, this is about the school with the biggest or the largest polling units. It's called a rack. It's called a rack. So what you're seeing down here is this is like a deployment zone. This is where ad hoc staff of INEC, they're taking their sensitive and non-sensitive materials for upward distribution to other locations in Akure. So while we're coming here, we still saw some polling units. They were set up already. They set up those polling units already, and they are ready to vote. And 68, I told you that we have in this sacred cathedral here in Akure South local government. So what you are seeing there is a deployment zone. They are just waiting for their vehicles. They are waiting for a vehicle to convey them to the next zone. But if you ask me, I will tell you that it's late. It's late because by now I expect most polling units in Akure to be set up. Akure is the state capital. The INEC is not far. The INEC office is not far. And for this local government, the sensitive and non-sensitive material would have been distributed like 48 hours to this local government. We didn't envisage they were going to have this kind of logistic problem. So as you can see members of the National Youth Service Corps. You can see security agents. You can see them even holding some of the sensitive and non-sensitive materials and something that they will use for the polling, ballot boxes, a lot of other things. So if you see these people, they are waiting for the buses one by one, and the buses have been coming and going and one by one. So majority of what you can see here, they are not voters. I've not been able to see the number of voters, but in other polling units down, as I told you earlier, we have 62 polling units. I can see some of the polling units, people going through the registration, going through their registration lists to spot their names and actually to start the process proper. But of all the 62 polling units in this school, I can tell you that, okay, this one very close to me, they are getting ready, but they've not started yet. Getting ready, putting things together, and normally we should see would be voters across this. You can see the beavers, you can see the electoral officer 1. You can see, normally statutorily you have electoral officer 1 and electoral officer 2 and 3. So in each of the polling units, there are meant to be four electoral officers, and they call that the leader of the team is an electoral officer, and 3 other ad hoc staff will be called assistant electoral officers. So those are the ballot papers, and they are getting set for the business of the day. As I told you earlier, this is Akure South local government, and this is Sacred Heart Cathedral. And in this particular cathedral, we have 68 polling units. 68 polling units. That's massive, if you want to ask me. And it also serves as a rack for Akure South local government. That is a registration area. So people, deployment, and every other thing, is going on here, and we're waiting for more officials to come. But when you talk in terms of turnouts, I will tell you that it's too early to call. And from what I've seen so far, I've not seen people so enthusiastic, because other election, even before the ad hoc staff gets here, would have seen, you know, the electorate. Maybe later in the day, we'll keep watching, Veronica.
Now, how would you gauge INEC's preparedness for this election, for it to be starting, you know, sharing electoral sensitive materials by this time? How would you gauge the preparedness here? I think we lost connection there.
Yeah. But let's bring the conversation to the studio now. Anthony. Okay, so you can ask him again. We're here.
Okay, yes. Ayo, so good to see you. So I was asking, looking at what is going on right now, how would you gauge INEC's preparedness for the election?
Hello, Gbenga.
Yes. Okay, I asked earlier, I said that how would you, looking at what you're seeing, sending, you know, just distributing sensitive materials at this time, after 8, how would you gauge INEC's preparedness for the election?
Well, still struggling to hear you, but I know Gbenga asked the question, as I told you earlier. So the whole exercise is meant to, you know, kick off at about now, and we're still battling with logistics. Okay, the level of preparedness on the part of INEC, if you ask me, it's too, if you ask me, it's too early to, to actually evaluate and, give any kind of mark or assess INEC, because the exercise is just starting. But if you want to ask me, from what I've seen here, this is Iraq. So what I've seen here, I won't say this is not encouraging, because what will you talk about? What do you say about Ilaje? What do you say about Ondo? So my counterpart there, they'll be giving you updates, but this is Akure, and I expect, all the polling units at about now to be ready, and would-be voters should be, everywhere around this place, actually to exercise their franchise. We should not be talking about logistics. We should not be seeing vehicle coming in one by one to pick ad hoc staff here. This is not too encouraging, because those areas that are going, around Akure South local government, those areas, the would-be voters, they'll be waiting for them at about this time. So talking about the level of preparedness, this is like a minus on the part of the Independent National Electoral Commission. This is as Akure, the state capital, as I told you earlier. So if they're finding things difficult in the state capital, where the headquarters is just a stone throw here, it's very... So at the end of the day, we'll see, maybe they're going to make it up and voters will turn up.
All right, Aya, if you can hear me, let me raise my voice a bit. Before you got to that particular rack, when you were touring Akure South, talk to us about the presence of security, because we know a huge number of security personnel were brought in for this election.
Everywhere we have security, it's like a lockdown. The whole city is on lockdown. You can't access anywhere except you are going to your polling units. So vehicular movement, if you are to move, you are meant to have your election duty card with you, and if you're a journalist, you are meant to have something like this to identify yourself, and some will even go further, that they will need your organization ID card beyond what was issued by the Independent National Electoral Commission. And as you can see, this card here reads Ayodele Ozugbakun, TVC Communication, so they must be able to match up your ID card from TVC Communication with what you have here. So that's how, how serious the security. And you have military men in some strategic points. You have policemen manning strategic points. You have NSCDC manning other points. And as you can see, you have policemen waiting here for this big mega polling units. I'll tell you about the mega voting center. If you are talking about 68, so I expect this place to be filled up by now. So security officers waiting for the electorates, you know, to do their jobs. And as you know, those people that are going to be very close to the polling units, they're the ones with just baton, not the one carrying arms. So to forestall the breakdown of law and order, these ones are the ones that will be with the polling units. And according to the Inspector General of Police, he has told us that we're going to have 4 of these men around each of these polling units, 4 around these polling units. And if you have 4 around each of the polling units, 68, you can do your mathematics, 68 times, the 4 times 68, 4 in each of the polling units. But we are going to see the configuration better, and we're going to see what the IG was talking about better if, you know, every polling unit is active here. As you can see, this polling unit now is not active. It's not active yet. They have their beavers ready, the electoral officers, they're ready, they're on ground, and the open secret ballot space here that is meant for the voting unit is also here, everything in place, but I can't spot any of the voters around here, and we are still waiting. And I told you earlier, there's big deployments happening around here, so it's like it's a rack, and deployment to every other station around Akure South local government. INEC ad hoc committees members are here. They are with their sensitive and non-sensitive materials, and you can even see some cabmen that were deployed by the commission actually trying to assist the buses that were engaged for this particular exercise. But ultimately, we expect that the exercise should have kicked off by now, or all the polling units ready, waiting for the electorates right now.
Okay, Ayo, we'll definitely keep tabs with you for more details from Akure South. Let's bring the conversation to the studio now. Anthony, let's get your reaction to, you know, the logistics issue that Ayo just pointed out with regards to what we are seeing there. We are still seeing deployment still happening at this point, and it's already past 8 when the process is supposed to begin in earnest at 8 o'clock.
Well, I mean, you know, what can we say? This is what I was talking about. This is why I think INEC as it stands needs to be overhauled. They seem like minor things, but they're grave things for an institution. You talk about our personal life. These are things that are not